One more important note about bread is the knife that you use to cut the bread. Now, everybody knows that generally it's true that everybody has a special knife for cutting the bread, like the bread you cut on Friday night. Usually we don't eat sliced bread on Shabbat. So you have a knife. Now, everybody knows that that knife is special. Now, some people think that you have a special knife because you want it to cut easily and you want it to be that kind of good knife that you could use. But in fact, this topic is clearly mentioned in the Shulchan Aruch, right? And the Shulchan Aruch says in Peitet Sif Dalet, the Shulchan Aruch says, כל שכן אסור לחתוך גבינה אפילו צוננת בסכין שרגילים לחתוך בשר. You can't cut cheese with a knife that you usually use for cutting meat. ולא עוד, אלא אפילו הפת שאוכלים עם הגבינה. Even the bread that you eat with the cheese, you should not cut with a knife that you use for meat. So that the rule for bread is get a bread knife. That's what a bread knife is. It's used only for cutting bread. And therefore you could use it to cut bread all the time. All the bread, whether it's bisari or chalavi, you could use the bread knife, all the time when you're eating the bread. But you should not use a fleishika knife, a meat knife to cut the bread, or a milk knife to cut the bread, because there clearly you have this problem or question: is the knife really clean? Does it have a little bit of something left over, which is going to become part of the bread that you are about to cut? So it says that clearly. Right? It says that clearly, don't eat bread that was cut with a fleishika knife. Don't eat bread that was cut with a milchika knife. Even if you're going to eat it fleishika meal, fleishika knife, milchika knife, milchika meal, you still should accept upon yourself this stringency and get a special knife for cutting the bread. Also, you should be careful with the bread that's left over. If the bread was on the table Friday night, a fleishika meal, and you have bread left over, and you put it into a bag of some sort of preserve it for the next meal, which is what I always do. My children don't like that I do it, but I do it in any event. And you have to make sure that that bread is going to be eaten in a fleishika meal. That bread sort of became stigmatized. It's fleishiks. Now, it's possible in a special situation, if you know that you're going to need the bread, so that what you do is cut off a part of the bread and put the rest of it away. Put the rest of it away so it doesn't find itself on the table with either the meat or the milk that you're about to eat. So you see that the notion that meat and milk should not be eaten together has been liberally expanded by the Chachamim to include the problem of bread, which is either milchiks or fleishiks, and even the knife that is used to cut the bread should certainly be a knife that is special. It's neither fleishiks nor milchiks. It's used only for cutting the bread and doesn't affect the status of the bread in any way.